Hello everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Off. Let me get the music going. Please feel free to tell me if that's too loud or not, but we're just going to be hanging out, and I was doing some hobby today, and I wanted to discuss something that kind of went a little under the radar, suspiciously so, and that is the removal of pretty much just about all, let me double check, I don't think it's all, but the overwhelming majority of units for Age of Sigmar from Forge World. Bit of a bummer, not gonna lie to you. We'll take a look here. I'm pulling up the page for it. I just wanted to throw it on here just to double check what I was saying before. Let's see, they still have Age of Sigmar as a heading at the top, and the only thing left are these 6 Chaos models. Ooh, dumps Mackenzie's one and all. Better versions elsewhere. Except I will say, I really do appreciate the Greater Unclean one. I've seen it in person. That's a stellar model. But what does this mean? No more Rogue Idol. That's okay. I'm going to be painting something from this game here in a little bit. But yeah, so that's what we're just kind of chatting news. I have a whole bunch of stuff. We'll go to the downward cam now that I'm painting. And I'll give you a tour, if you will. We have up here, I'll get to those in a sec, a Hold Rake model. He is the final model I have to finish painting for my Dweg home to be fully painted and based. We did a lot of that in the last one. I have here 20 archers who we are going to be basing today because that's mostly all they require. I'm going to do a few highlights on some of their skin because they were painted at different times to make them kind of match more. But actually, I can turn this up for me a bit. There we go. Hopefully that's not too bright for you guys. But yeah. So we got a whole bunch of Arrowboyz. So bone splitters are still on the table. Got to make up those like 400 points I lost on the Rogue Idol somewhere. That's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I did have one of those like moments where TikTok comes to life in your head. I had the dream in my head of like, Rogue Idol's dead. Turns to Incarnate of Gur. It's like, you better fix this frickin' hole in my life and my list, you little shit. There's a lot of pressure on your shoulders. You got some big hoofs to fill. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. We got some bone splitters there we're working on. You might be wondering what this is and possibly what these are. Now, if you have seen me playing any, or heard me talk about Conquest Last Argument of Kings, they are rank and flank. And, let's see, let's grab some examples. Basically, you have 4 miniatures. Normally you can pop them off. I glued them down because I wanted a diorama style base. So I have little tufts and grass and weathering and stuff. When you move around, you do move like this. Okay, so you guys move around. Somebody came up with a 3D printing thing that basically locks them in place so your stands are not shifting around as you do stuff like pivot and turn. And the Herald of Manwë, which is a viewer here on the channel and a patron supporter, all around incredible person, printed me these, and he's like, hey, what does this one do? The one with the 1 dot in the center. Well, that's actually for heroes. Heroes have their own stand. So now my Holdray, the reason I was waiting to paint him, is that he gets his own stand, and they typically go right in the dead center of a unit, and now the whole thing can max out. It is much easier to move, even just a 4 stand where there's like a one that's like off on its own back there. So much easier to move with these things. So I am eternally grateful. So excited. I'm going to paint 2 of them to match the Dweg home, and then the rest of them are going to go towards the Nord's army I'm hoping to do in 2022. So I got 10 of these regiment ones, and then 6 total of the character stands, which I'm only ever going to have 2 for Dweg home because my 3rd character that I'll ever take is going to be Sorcerer riding the giant fire dragon because metal reasons. In addition to all of that, again, like I said, I got a lot on my plate today, and y'all are going to help me crack through it. I promise I'm going to go and read through the questions, and we'll walk through it. There's also this box. This is my box of randomness, where I have kits from anywhere in the last 20 years, and the sole purpose is it's things for Space Station Zero, who was put out by Adam Loper and Vince Ventrella, Uncle Adam. So I'm very excited to get into that. I actually have 2 local friends here who are interested in playing. And yeah, it's just a matter of painting up the warband. Actually, my wife really wants to play as well. We actually got some... it took forever for them to come, but these really nice D12s, or whatever they use, I can't recall. Either 10s or 12s, but got a whole set of those. And so these models, I'm pulling out... these 4 pieces are from a terrain kit that I got in that estate sale. So not much to say there. I don't even know a single thing about how they were made. And then the rest of these are actually from the, I'm going to say defunct game Warcaster by Privateer Press when they got tired of talking about War Machine, their other game. So that's that. And then the rest of this. Tiny ships. Doug, why do you have such tiny ships? There's a game coming out that I am very excited for. Homeworld Fleet Command, okay? And I'm allowed to talk about it as far as I know, because they've already spoiled everything that I could say about it. There is an old computer game, 2010, I think it was, Homeworld, where essentially think of it as like Battlefleet Gothic, but with a lot more, depth, because that's what the graphics can allow, like tiny fighter ships and that kind of thing. So it's a space battle fleet kind of game, and they turned it into a board and miniatures game. And honestly, it plays... It is truly like if you took X-Wing and Armada and smashed them together and put it on a hex board. It's like that. It's so accessible, and it's so cool to have a big fleet game like that. So these are all the ships from that. I promised them I would do a very quick tutorial on how to paint everything up to the most base standard. So that's what I intend to do. I'm just going to pick a few of these guys. I'm probably going to paint them all because it'll take about 8 seconds longer than just painting 6. And I told them I would take pictures, so all the special ships I'll put to the side for picture day. But yeah, I'm just going to throw a wash on these real fast because that wash always takes the longest, and then we'll get to everything else. Let's pick out one of their frigates. And... nope, we already have that one. We need this one. Yeah. Sweet. Alright, there we go. How is it only 2010? Am I wrong? Let's see. Homeworld on Steam. I'm looking right now. I'm sorry, 2015. I was very wrong. Here we go. Release date February 2015. Good call, TG Disciple. All right, let me get... okay, I'm going to pause here after having said all of those things. And just kind of chat. If anybody has any questions or comments for me, I would love to hear them. Let me get... I just need something for my photo session, so I'm going to get a little bit of a background set up for us. Aha! This is the board it comes on. That's when I take a quick step-by-step photo, so using the ones that are already out of the way, we'll just go from there. As you guys can see, I'm doing some highly technical YouTuber stuff where I'm, setting up stuff for a picture and it looks epic. This is why I'm flush with cars, women, and cash. I thought it was older than that. I definitely thought it was... I've been working on my PhD since then. You know what? It's almost right. Just gotta open up one more panel and then it'll all fit. Forgive me, this is not what I was anticipating, but just trying not to miss anything in my little tutorial. Okay, I'm going to start looking at the questions here. Lots of highs. Hey everybody, how are you doing? Just let me know if the if anyone thinks the music is too loud or whatever. I am happy to adjust. I'm not gonna lie, this is a dope picture. I like this as a background for pictures. I'm gonna use this for other stuff. Oh man. Okay, so let's start. I'm gonna put them back in the box here. Whenever I am done, grab this. Let me unbury all my brushes. And as far as I know, I am permitted to say anything about that game. So if you're interested in Homeworld as a setting and game series, if you like space slash, I mean, I always want to call it naval combat, because you kind of use the same ideas, right? Of like having to think ahead about where your shots are going. And so I kind of equate naval combat and what we'll call, I guess, space armada. I guess the real difference is like what toys you have access to in terms of guns. Let's see. What game is this? I think you were talking about my Conquest stuff. That is Dweg Home from the game Conquest: Last Argument of Kings. And I enjoy that game very much. It is become my #1 squeeze when it comes to miniatures games. Okay, I'm sorry. That was a very long intro. We went through a whole bunch of stuff there. Need to get some for my own conquest. Hey, Cinderfall, what's up, buddy? I hope you're having a wonderful day down under. And I'm doing this tutorial for people who have no interest in painting miniatures and just want a good-looking set because they like the video game. So we're allowed to be sloppy. It's not sloppy. It's a tactical application of time and energy, you know? This stuff doesn't just grow on trees. I gotta you know, be mindful of my time, right? That's why all my models are gray plastic. It's not because I'm lazy. Nah. Let's see. Ready for cracking. Hello, chat. What? Okay, here we go. Here's a great question. Milan Ninja, I think is how you say that. Oh, Milan Ninja. What's an underrated regiment from Conquest that you've discovered? One that doesn't seem strong or cool, but proved to be stronger. Ooh, that's a great question. Underrated thing from Conquest. Let's see. It doesn't seem strong. You know, a strange choice is Men-at-Arms from 100 Kingdoms. I played them because I did play little bit of 100K at one point, and then I played them exclusively for our First Blood thing. And the reason I really liked them is because because they have shield and some really great leader options, I could very reasonably throw a block of 6 of them, or a 6 stand, or even if it's just 6 dudes if you're playing the base the First Blood game. You could just throw them in a direction and be reasonably confident that that flank is secured. Not from, like, you know, the main bulk of the opposing army, but from little stuff, from light units that scour up the field. And I don't know, it was just really nice to, like, I'm going to direct all my forces to one side and kind of do a refused flank thing. And it's really nice when you can just have bodies that are, you know, that they're going to be a bigger speed block than your opponent wants, and that to me is always a good thing. Then again, you're asking a Bone Splitters player in AOS, so I think the best unit is whatever can run forward and die hard enough to hurt somebody maybe on the way out. Tactics. I never stood a shot about getting, put into military intelligence. Unless I was like, I don't know, Soviet Russia or something. Just throw more bodies at it. But sir, we don't have any. More. Which, getting back to our point of our rant about losing Forge World models, is basically the only trick that I have left at this point, because without the Rogue Idol, my only option is like, throw more boys at them. Which ones? The ones with the bows. Which ones now? The ones with the boars. The ones with the sticks. Okay. So, but yes, Men-at-Arms, because of the ability to just have a refuse flank that you just truly do not have to worry about, is quite nice. It is quite nice. It's a space game played on 2D space, so naval is as close as you can get. Yes, pretty much. Let's see. Cinderfall Gaming. Oh, I woke up early. Yeah, nice. Miyabi, I may have asked this before, but do you have a recommendation for a skirmish game that is not super crunchy? Still trying to find something that sticks with my wife. Let me ask you a quick question here. Do you already have models? And if so, like for anything, I'm thinking model agnostic games. So do you own models? And if so, would you say that you have fantasy, sci-fi, or both? Based on that, I will give you my recommendation. Also, if you could list off, I don't know, maybe something like, your wife's favorite show or movie or something. That'll give us a vibe. We can channel into a vibe. Okay, I'll put my drenched ships back into the box so they can dry. I'm just focusing on the tutorial ones for now because that's really all that matters to me for the purposes of today's content creation. I got into a deep emotional slump after the holidays, I should say, not during, but after. And I'm just kind of now getting out of it. So that's what all this hobby progress is for, is just catching up on projects. I've had Homeworld for a couple weeks now, and I just really started cracking into it, and I gotta say, it's pretty stinking cool. Fun fact, if anyone's curious, it also features a solo and co-op mode, as well as a way to design your own custom missions for narrative's sake, which is really nice. Let me just get all the little ships out of the way. I think The bone splitters are going to go the fastest, so we'll just focus on them right now. Okay. Okay, I own a bunch of Etsy 3D prints and stuff from Reaper. Mostly fantasy, but a little sci-fi. Her favorite shows are Korean, Japanese things, anime, and that stuff. She does like Harry Potter. Well, chat, what do we got? I'm thinking... Let me see. Let me see if I can find something here for you. So, games to look at. I have two recommendations for you based on a few things here. So, first one, come on. Their website is absolute trash. I'm sorry. It's from, I don't know, man. Like, it's the kind of thing that I would expect to have tabbed right next to my MySpace page. But Bushido is a very popular miniatures game where it uses a lot of Eastern influences, both, and it's done in a very socially conscious and respectful way, but these guys are badass. Like, straight up. I love it. It is not, I have never played it myself, and to be perfectly honest, from what I understand, the reviews are very good. They have tons of miniatures with very cool poses, and it is meant to be a skirmish game set in like feudal Japan, essentially. Let's see. Then there's also Blacksite Studios. What's their version called? Hold on a second. Our games. Yes. So this year, if you wanted to get it on the ground floor, is it Hamatsu? There. I know. I don't know the game because it's not come out yet, but I do know Blacksite Studios makes insanely high quality products and games. They're very fun, and this is a similar concept. Here's a great shot of some arts. Here's some arts, please. Here's some art shots for you of the renders, and it's the same feudal era. They've done other previews besides those, and they look terrific. I felt like they had one more on just the front of my brain here. Oh, thank you, Cinderfall. Have you played Bushido? I hope so. Like I want some feedback. What's it like? I guess the main question here for our friend Mayabi is, what's the crunch level? Is probably the most apt. I feel like I had another one in my head, but now I can't think of it. If you want, like, in terms of like mechanical simplicity, I would definitely say Rain in Hell by Snarling Badger Studios. Rain in Hell, Snarling Badger. This is a miniatures agnostic game, so using whatever you have. This is a very, very low crunch game. There are very few stats. They're all meaningful, and it's fun. You get to move around. You get to have what is essentially any models that you want to use, you can use. Again, model agnostic, but they're trying to represent different types of demon groups in hell, and they're all fighting for power. So this is put out by, again, Snarling Badger Studios. They also have a sci-fi version called Space Station Zero, which is equally excessively fun. That's the one that I kind of leaned to because I wanted to get some more fun sci-fi stuff. I have a lot of fantasy models, so I wanted to mix it up a bit with the painting palette. But Rain in Hell was the first one that they made, and it is very fast to play, very, very quick to learn. They have expansions which give you a solo and co-op mode, so if that's something you are interested in, like, for example, with my wife Jess, we're going to be playing Space Station Zero, and we're doing the co-op mode because that way we're on the same team. And it's fun to play together, right? Just like you're playing Mario Kart or something like that. So it would be us versus the computer, so to speak. So those are my recommendations for you. If anyone else has anything, please drop it in. Okay, this. I can't testify to the game quality of anything but the Snarling Badger stuff because I haven't played them, but I very much try to point people towards indie games as much as I can. I think it's the best thing for all of us. So, as I sit here, basing me bone splitters, who are down a rogue idol, let us mourn the ones we have lost. Friends, what Forge World model did you lose on the great day? I was there. I remember the day. I was in the living room when I was told the news. Basically, Jack from Rerolling Ones, we still chat all the time, and he pointed it out because I totally missed it. That was a under-the-radar deletion of their product, I felt. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, everything but a few of the alternate Greater Demon sculpts are gone for Age of Sigmar on the Forge World site. And I would love to know people's thoughts about this. For me, I am somebody who very much, when I buy a miniature, I understand that it is temporary. It is a temporary thing as a game piece, but an eternal thing as an item. You know, like I get to enjoy it in my house. But it's not always going to be a game piece, and so while I was bummed because I thought the Rogue Idol added a lot to the Auric War Clans roster, it was not a good model. I use a third-party one that my buddy Viridian Forge made for the specific reason of I thought the actual Forge World one looked like not my fave. I'll just say not my fave. It didn't match my boar army for sure. How about that? Whether you like them or not, like the Forge World sculpts, but I don't know. Let's see. Tales of Elethrion? Ooh, that's a pretty name. So sad. These great models are history. You know, they kept chipping them away over time, and it looks like the day finally came, I guess. Still got my old monsters like the Merworm. Yeah. Yep, the Merworm. Then they got rid of they used to have a ton of Nurgle stuff with the Tomerkin's Horde, but that got pruned down pretty aggressively even before. You know, this is kind of why I've kind of been in a slump lately. Not so much in general, like in life, that was because of the holidays, but when it comes to Games Workshop stuff, more and more, I'm just not, like, I love the creative minds behind Age of Sigmar, and I love the setting, but the company practices, I don't know, I'm getting tired. I got burnt out a little bit. I got burnt out by the constant FOMO, and then things you had don't work the next day. It's like, well, you know, I understand that models get replaced. I know that my bone splitters are not long for this world. These sculpts are almost old enough to be in middle school. And I enjoy them while I have them, and when they're no longer able to be used in the game, they'll still look great on a shelf. But the constant need to be pushed to buy to the next thing, it burned me out. And so I'm glad I have my Incarnate of Gerd. Thank you, Games Workshop, for sending that. Because I'm not sure if I would replace it. I'd be like, well, I guess I just play 1,500 points now. Or whatever, 1,000-point games. Because part of it is the number of gamers nearby, which isn't changing. Age of Sigmar is growing in popularity around my area. But for the longest time, I couldn't justify investing anything else into it because nobody played it. I wouldn't be able to get any games in. Now, if you're somebody who is looking for the salt mine and was hoping that I was just going to like rail on GW, hi, you must be new here. I'm Doug. I don't waste my time being mad. Instead, check out Conquest: Last Argument of Kings by Parabellum, a wonderful company. Do you think Forge World is getting integrated into GW fully? You know, I don't know what they're doing with Forge World, and they have not demonstrated that they do either. I've been following Games Workshop since probably 2013. And, so not nearly as long as many other people in the hobby have, of course. But even in that time, like, I've seen Forge World go from, like, this is our premier KOTOR brand of amazing models that you can't get anywhere, to now it's like, these are our dark closet of dumpy looking losers who we don't want to show you. Instead, check out this new Lord of Change made in plastic. And it's like, right. Right, because these guys aren't great. They just are. So I'm not quite sure. I feel like the purpose of Forge World and what it was supposed to do has changed so much over time, and I'm not... The lack of communication to their customer base, who they're hoping go to that store and buy it, because they're not fully integrated. You can't. Like, you can't just go onto one and buy stuff from the other. That tells me that they don't really know what they're doing either, and that's okay. They're the guys with all the money. They can do whatever they want. They can take their time. Let's see. I'm a Cities player. I fully expecting to see many of my loves disappear. Exactly. Exactly. No use being mad about stuff. I just play Warhammer at a fun level. Yep. I'm the same way. Like, people were talking in, like, so the local group, there's a store here in Iowa City called Critical Hit Games, and they have a big 40K group, and they were talking about setting up stuff for AOS, and I said, guys, I'm so happy to... I am more than happy to lead events, but then it occurred to me, I don't think they're going to like the kind of events that I would run, because I like dumb stuff. I like when these models are like, I don't know, I like tables, I like D66 charts, I like all kinds of ridiculous things. To me, the greatest book ever was one of the old Demon Chaos books for 40K, where you would buy an artifact, but you didn't know what you were buying. You had to randomly generate it from the warp. What a stupid thing. I love it. Think there'll be much crossover with Spire and the new factions. Oh yeah, I missed a question about Conquest. Someone was asking me, like, what my thought was the best. Aesthetically, so far, I'm digging the Dogs of War, but I highly doubt that will win out. Think there'll be much crossover with Spires and the new faction and Conquest: Last Argument of Kings, like there was with the Nords. Joseph, I need you to rephrase that question, because I've read it like 3 times now and I'm not understanding what you're asking. What do you mean much crossover? Like, Nords and Spire don't share models. Or I don't know what you meant. Please rephrase, but I would love to answer. I love talking Conquest. A friend who was an ex-GW worker once told me Forge World is where they send old miniature sculptors and rules designers to die. It's their retirement home. Well, can't wait till they retire some AOG Sigmar designers, I guess. I'd be inclined to agree, but then why do they sell Horus Heresy and Necromunda models? I think the idea is that those games are also targeted towards older gamers with more disposable income. I don't know if I agree with that with Necromunda, though, because Necromunda is definitely more of a... It's become a very mainline product, so... But I think that's the idea. Like their lore, Nomads... Nords or Nomads have two versions. Oh, okay, wait. Let me reread your question. You were talking in lore. I'm sorry. I thought you meant like faction interplay. I was like, they don't share units. Give me a second here, Joseph. I think there'll be much... Do I think that there will be much crossover lore-wise between the Spire and the new faction? So the new faction being city-states that's coming out. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. We know their lore. Their lore has actually been out in the book for quite a while. Where there's not a ton of direct crossover. It has more to do with the story of... let's see... Their story is much more tied to the Old Dominion than it is with Spire in any way. But that doesn't mean they didn't have history together. The whole idea is that everybody's been punching each other in the face for so long that everyone's got a grudge against everybody. Okay. Dog's my favorite lore-wise, but Sorcerer King Sana stole my votes. Yeah, good call. Tales of Elethrion. What's your guess on what the next two Warcry boxes will bring of narrative and warbands? Ooh. Well, warbands I don't know. The warbands that they have done that are like specifically for Warcry, in my opinion, have all been bangers. Even if they're not aesthetics that I like, I can see the technical quality of them, and they go in art directions that I never saw coming. So that to say, like, you know, the next box could be raccoon people versus orangutan murderers, and I'd be like, cool, chaos. I would be just as surprised as if it was like, I don't know, just more corn type warriors. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Boring. Safe choice. To me personally, I think these sets are a great way if they wanted to really ramp up sales. Have a Skaven warband be one of them, a Skaven specific one rather. Certainly as they are doing the lead up to Cities of Sigmar, having a warband that's in there would be stellar, because then we could get to see what those design elements look like in practice, not just you know, because I like that they're showing the renders. I do appreciate it, but also I have to see it all together, right? Because sometimes things just don't quite look right, so they don't help me understand what the faction's going to look like, other than like the broadest of strokes. So these guys got the basing stuff on. They just need to dry, and then we're going to dry brush Ushabti Bone and then go around the rim of the bases with black. They're done. Those guys, meh. Let me get one more thing started here with the basing. Okay. Here we go. I use Vallejo Thick Mud for my Dweghome. No particular reason. I just found this after I started using the GW stuff, and it's a way better deal per dollar. If you have not seen it, 10 out of 10. Recommend. Same price as one of the tiny little bottles, and this has gone for an entire Dweghome army, and I still have half the dang container in there. Okay, apologies. I keep getting distracted. What do I think the Warcry box is? Well, they have to bring some stuff with, I would think the campaign system. You were right? Because, like, all those locations were shown on the Heart of Gur set, and I would imagine we're going to start, like, going to those at some point. One would think. So I'm looking for map information. The one area I think Warcry tends to flounder is making artifacts interesting. Like in Mordheim, the right artifact just made a guy go from like 0 to hero. Like they just became baller, and that's fun. It's so fun when someone gets like the one ring and then gets absolutely punked by an arrow in the face and loses the one ring, and now everyone has to like, oh crap, Gregor's dead, but we don't care about that. Get the goddamn jewelry. That was always fun to me. I don't feel like Warcry really does that well, so I'm hoping there are some design ideas for items in there, as well as I don't know. I do feel like the Heart of Gur set did a really good job with our terrain rules. I mean, it came with a whole bunch, and it didn't like codify new things, but I felt like it spelled them out in a very easy to understand way, and I did appreciate that. Let's see. Elec on a different topic. I want to play Conquest with a friend. They're interested but don't have their own models, but I've only got my spires built. Any proxy suggestions? To help you out, the name of the next Warcry set is Bloodhunt. Okay, well thank you. I appreciate that. To answer your question, you only got your models. Are you guys doing Last Argument of Kings or First Blood? That would be my first question. Because if it's First Blood, it's anything with a round base. Just get them rolling dice. If you're doing Conquest, the full game, Last Argument of Kings. Actually, that's not true. It's not a full game. Both are full games. But the full army game, it is a full army, as opposed to a skirmishing warband. That one, you can kind of just do whatever you want. What I would say is, depending on what army you have, you know, if you have orcs, try as Woodrune or whatever. If you're interested in owning other models to do more demos, the faction tasters are just pretty good deals. They're $50. Do they play other miniature games? There's a lot of questions here. When you're trying to introduce someone to a miniatures game, it's like a lot. Last Argument. Okay, I got you. I kind of figured after I talked through it out loud. I was like, yeah. So on this dries, this will be the basing for my 2 heroes. Well, I have a 3rd hero, but he's riding the dragon, so he's got his base covered. I think the biggest thing is teaching someone command cards and movement with the square stands. I think those are the hallmarks of what a Last Argument of Kings demo has to get people used to, because those are definitely like the 2 defining parts of it from a game system. How movement functions when everyone's all ranked up, because movement being 90% of the game is just us moving models, right? And then the other part of it is demonstrating how command cards work. And so what I would suggest you do is take your army. I'm going to just fill it in here because let's say you have spires. Give them the spires, and then you concoct, like, I don't know, take whatever Age of Sigmar stuff or whatever game you also play. You know, make a little army like that. You have to move around on stands, and then just have a little legend for like, hey, when I flip this, I don't know, from normal playing cards, Ace of Hearts, it means my king. And then as long as that is communicated to your opponent, you don't need the actual command cards. But that way it would allow you to just randomly, you know, take any models you have and turn them into a functional warband. Probably just stick to something simple like 2 regiments. One of them has a hero in it. Again, if we're at the point where he's like, I don't know if I'm interested enough to buy models, this is all like basic mechanic stuff. And if at that point they want to try something else, well, they can invest a little. Play AOS got me into wargaming in general, and they got me into Conquest. They don't want to financially invest yet, but they mentioned being interested in city-states and Nords. Well, I will tell you that box looks like it's going to be awesome. So if that's a thing that you guys want to split, that would be a terrific way to get into the game, both of you at the same time. Because city-state stuff looks so good, but they just, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't grip me the right way. Hey-oh, that's what she said. So it just doesn't get my attention like the way the Nord stuff does. And that's kind of what I was hoping to do. I want a cool painting project that kind of pushes me with animals and monsters and that kind of thing. And I don't know. City-states just didn't get me at the right time, I guess. But this week, in Doug, I guess, personal news, I finally became an official Vanguard for Conquest, so I can start running events, even though I kind of already did. I just forgot to sign up for it on the forum. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do the affiliate thing, and then I just didn't actually sign up to become like a person who can get supported by the company to give demos. I was like, oh. Yeah, probably should have read that fine print. If you are unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, Conquest also has like, they just incentivize people in the community to go teach others the game. Other games have had it and shut it off and all that kind of stuff. At some point they may shutter it, but it is what it is. They're very active with their volunteer gaming community, and it's pretty cool to see. Not volunteer gaming community, volunteer playtesting community, apologies. Sorry if I've been putting too much into the chat. Didn't mean to spam. Oh, you're good, man. We're good. We're just hanging out and painting. Anybody who has a question, please go ahead and ask. And if what we're talking about seems boring to you, you can always change the topic by throwing $1 at me. Because it helps support the channel and stuff. But I deeply like helping people, especially trying to get into games that I also like. Just get some gold on these little bits here. I just missed a few little bits and bobs on him, and then I have to give him a wash. Do just a quick pop of color. He'll be all set. Actually, I'm just going to do the entire base. There we go. I like that more. Forgive me for going quiet. I'm just trying to snag these little tiny, hard to reach places under this dude's beard. There we go. It's all good. I thought I was that guy at the beginning of the stream. No, I get it. Everyone feels awkward when there's like, am I talking too much? I feel like, you ever been like that at a party where like, I feel like I'm yelling or I'm dominating everything? Nah, you're good. If you find that you generally feel awkward, you're in good company. Here we go, Uriel Yella. Let's see. Hey, Abby, what's everyone's favorite gaming company? Oh, like the actual Well, it's hard to say because like I love so many of the creative people at Games Workshop that I've had the wonderful opportunity to meet over the years. But like, when you say company, you're talking in like corporate practices, from how they appear on the stock market and like talk to investors, all the way to other companies that are smaller and privately owned. As far as, I think Cinderfall has the right of it. It's just companies don't get attached to the company. Companies change as values and the world changes and it's whatever. But what I look for is, do the people seem good, and how much power do the people who seem good have over what the final product is? Because I would say Duncan Rhodes is awesome. He's a really cool guy. He didn't have a dang bit of say over any of the things that happened at GW, as do none of the people I've ever had the good fortune of meeting who work there that are really cool. So it's like, the coolness of people has to translate to the actions of the company, if we're going to talk about that kind of thing. And in that regard, I would probably say if we're talking large company, I'm going to say Parabellum. And I say large in quotes, there's like 13 of them. If we're talking like on the narrowest end of indie publishing, I got to go with my boy Vincent Adam with Snarling Badger Studios. They've been nothing but supportive and kind and enthusiastic, and they care about their fans very, very much. Also very active on their Facebook page. So if you get any of their games and you have questions, they tend to have very helpful communities that they are very active in. But, you know, like when I say that I love Parabellum, what I mean is they're exceptionally accessible. Like, you can hop on the Discord right now and find a company representative who's just hanging out they're doing playtesting right now for something, but, you know, they're just chilling. So you can go talk to them. You can ask questions about the game, design ideas. The head lore writer just pops in there every once in a while, and I don't know. It's really cool. And they're just very nice people. if I had to pick another one, I don't know. It gets harder for me at that point. One-page rules. That's a great one. That's a great one. Doug, Parabellum only has like 15 people. I'm sure that it might be close to like 30 or 45, but I was just joking in terms of like saying it's a big company. Like they technically have like a dude in the States, but they're not a large company. So that's all. I was exaggerating. I don't know the actual number, but I know they're not large. When you consider, I think, is it in the U.S. like a small business is anything less than like 100 or two something employees or something like that? It's very, I don't know. There's a lot of things where I'm like, man, if I had 100 people working for me, I would not consider myself a small business, but apparently the government does. This is all going to come back on me at some point. You're going to be like, oh my god, Doug said on a live stream that Parabellum only has 15 employees. That must mean they're firing everybody. And like the internet goes in flames. I think Doug would feel the same, but our relationship with companies differ than others because we have professional tie in them as well. Lots of companies have good Yeah. I mean, it's true. I was trying to think of like times where I've seen companies like step out and be very helpful to like a nobody, relatively speaking. Like, you know, just a new random person wanders into the PB forum. They could talk to someone who's like a higher up. One of the founders, Stavros, is in there like all the time. So when I talk about accessibility, I was more thinking for other folks. But yeah, I mean, I certainly would never try to deny that my relationship with companies is a little bit inherently different just based on what I do. Because that's accurate. That's fair. Anyone have any idea on how to make patchy snow bases? I've heard baking soda. I have never tried it. So not I. Sweet. This chunky boy is going to go right in there. That big base over there in the top right corner. He is going to lead my Dwegum. Let me see. I just need wildwood. There we go. Making sure I didn't miss any other good patches here. Get some GW technical paint. Yeah, I tend to like the technical paints. I won't lie. If that makes me a plebe, then so be it. There is a satisfaction that I am willing to pay for to just click open a bottle and have it work. Does Vallejo make a snow texture? I don't know. I know they have a whole bunch of like ice and different kinds of muds. I would imagine there's a snow. Cinderfall might know more. he said he's been using them for a while. I've never. This is so like whenever I go to my local store, they have a big rack of them, and generally speaking, all the racks are empty except for like dirt and mud. So that's kind of what my eye gravitates to. So I wasn't really looking. I hear baking soda yellows over time, but I'm in love with the simplicity. There you go. Simplicity is lovable. That is for certain. Just want to pull a tiny bit of gray highlights out of there. Green Stuff World makes a cool frost effect. That's rad. I have, like I think I said it before, I've only ever used their rollers. Continuing with my trend of being behind on everything, I just discovered Minecraft this week. It's been fun. I was like, I was asking around for some good games that kind of, I like to have like stuff to do with my hands while I kind of process emotional things, and it's been an emotional holiday season, and so I was like asking around like, hey, what kind of games do people play when they're just kind of decompressing? And they're like, well, if you haven't already beaten Minecraft, you can go back and do that. And I was like, never heard of it. Sounds like a game for the youths. I'm going to be honest, I was this close to getting into Conquest, but then they made the Minotaurs look like cows from back at the barnyard. And I think that sums up Conquest as a whole for me. I mean, that's what everyone, well, it's whatever. There was a discussion question during their kind of hobby hangout when they first showed those Minotaurs, and because when I saw them, I was like, they look way too leaned forward. And one of the retail guys stepped in and said it had to do with capturing it on camera. Like, when you look at it in person, upright, it doesn't do that, and so like the angle looks better. So I'm kind of trusting them on that one. I have no reason not to, but yeah. Oh, orange, that's what I need. Here we go. They're just so round. I know that there are people locally who are perpetually furious at GW for never getting the aesthetic of what they think werewolves should look like. And I have to say that with the exception of Han shooting first, I've never had such a strong opinion as they did when it came to things that don't matter. That's fine. I don't have to like everything. Okay, so they're drying. He needs to dry a bit more, but Really, I'm waiting on his base, so I'll just put him back there with that. But with that base done, or bases, I have to do both of them, right? Because I have my Karawa. With those two done, my Dweghelm army for 2,000 points, complete. So that's exciting. Now, we can move on to how in the heck I'm going to paint these things. Are you my dark purple? I have started using Pro Acrylic by Monument Hobbies, and I have to say, they are my new favorite paints. I'm just going to throw that out there, unashamedly. They were introduced to me because my buddy, locally Rob, was like, you need to try this. I was like, eh. I mean, if you know my saga when it comes to Vince Ventrella telling me that GEW gold is the worst gold ever, which is basically him making good points and me going, yeah, but I don't want it. How matte are they? Well, this is primer, so please don't judge it by that, but let's see. I have had nothing but good experiences with them as I drop the metal model. So this, I'm painting this Space Station Zero warband for the missus, and she wants a kind of dark purple look with some kind of like almost like Tron effects. So we're gonna go base it all out with that. Just get the purple in there and all the nooks and crannies, so even if we miss something, that's all right. It won't be noticeable. As the old adage goes, if you can't do it right, at least do it in a way where you won't get caught. GW has more or less abandoned werewolves as long as you go down the wolf halfway route narratives. Oh, like Chajigar? Yeah. No, I'm trying to think. It was when Blood Bowl came out that my feed exploded with very unhappy people being like, "What's going on? This is the worst thing ever." Blah, 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 blah. Rebel, 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 rebel. Which is how it all sounds to me, but. Oh, that Blood Bowl. Yeah, that was my thing. There, it was just like they've never gotten anything right about werewolves, and you're like, okay, Mr. Hyperbole, relax. They've made more money off of fantasy miniatures than you'll ever see in your life. They're doing okay. Maybe just reel it in. Sir, you seem to be very upset. Can I call a mother? Perhaps she can take you home. I have a snack bag. Let's see. What was the paint name again? I couldn't tell you about airbrushing. I don't use them. It's called Pro Acrylic by Monument Hobbies. I do know that they have a like a thinning medium for air colors, and I've heard great things about it. So take that for what you will. But yeah, I'm not a let's do some what do you call it? What do the kids call it? Slap chop. Let's try it. We got some Iron Hull Gray. Like in the Promethean Giant in the video, you said it had a rock arm. Oh, no, I shouldn't have. It just had clockwork. Everything else in the faction is kind of a... No, I don't think they have any rocks. Draft as I did manage to score Curse City last night. Sweet! That's rad. I think we have a copy or two on the wall locally here as well. Which I was surprised by. Lots of folks were just very excited to jump into that when it came, well, back out. I think that was probably a lot of the issue. Was at this point, nobody trusts Games Workshop to support the games that they make anymore because you keep backing out of them. Those long-term campaign ones is what I'm talking about, not like the main games. Come on. Like, doesn't want to get out of the bottle. Oh, I just finished building my Marvel minis. Daredevil, Elektra, Colossus, Magic, Gambit, and Rogue. I had awesome success the other day with Elektra. I don't talk about Crisis Protocol. It's kind of like my IRL game that I like. It's mainly just for me, right? It's not about content. It's just a game that I enjoy personally. Because I'm not a big superhero person. Never have been, but I really like the mechanics of it. But, so that's been fun to see. It looks like it's been doing great locally. Elektra is amazing. But yeah, it's... She can get in there. I love the fact... One of the things, like, when Crisis Protocol was first being announced, I was really being introduced to the Batman miniatures game by Night Games, or I think it's called, or something like that. And the thing that I liked about the Batman game so much more than Marvel was that it had goons. I want goons. I want nobodies to get the crap kicked out of them, you know? And I feel like more recently they've started including that with things like the little Shadow Warriors and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and this kind of thing. Just because it's just fun to see, like... I don't know. You get all these crazy superheroes that can do anything and move buildings and all these kinds of stuff, and then you've got Bill. And he's just a dude. Bill's having a rough day. His cab got flipped over by Magneto on his way to work. He's not in a good mood. Her in Shadowlands, Daredevil. Okay, I have a question for you, Cinderella. Do you ever take them together? I feel like they take up too much space in a list if you do both of them. And I haven't had an opportunity to get like the Shadow Warrior Ninja dudes to do enough stuff to justify both of them. They do, but they're really good together. I'll never get over the Harry Potter game. I didn't know that there was one. Which might prove your point. I don't know. Speaking about the game systems, I'm mad because I missed out on Shadow Collective Box for Star Wars Legion. Ah, cool. I'm getting into a Star Wars Legion league here locally. I'm very excited for it. I have droids and I'm doing a scrap yard droid army, so like that's how I justify fighting anyone, is that the dubious people in charge of this particular scrapyard keep selling off droid armies. Doug, favorite MCP character? Okay. She's won me more games than anyone else, and it's just not a character that people talk about very often. Viper. Viper, she's in a box with Sin, and it's two ladies, Sin and Viper, come together, and she has a long move, and I have had nothing but pure gold success with her being able to... She's got a few abilities. Basically, she has a long move, so she's cruising across the board. And then she also has a special ability she can spend whatever your power for, and where she can do another move. She gets to be placed within a short, I think. And that, just the ability to throw someone that far forward to cap something, has won me so freaking much. Now again, that's gameplay. So if you're talking in terms of like, you know, I guess how much I like a character, like thematically, that's a different one. Kane, wishing you the best. Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's very kind of you to say. Because here's the thing about Viper. She's dirt cheap. She doesn't do much. And my opponents know that. So nobody goes after her. And she's just one of those units that doesn't matter until they are everything. So she might be ignored most of the game, but she's always doing stuff. She's always there moving towards an objective, applying pressure. Even if she just stands next to someone who's way better than her, like let's say I also have, I don't know, Crossbones, or who else do I take? I really like Electra, as I mentioned before. If she's standing next to Electra and my opponent looks at the table, they see two fighters. They don't see that Electra is basically alone because Viper's a sad panda. There's a psychological effect there that I definitely lean on. They're not like, oh look, it's that weird LARPing pedestrian and the goddess of war, Electra. They're like, oh, there's two fighters over there. And then Viper will peel off and go do whatever she's going to do. She has stealth too, right? Yes. Yes, I believe she does. Yeah, she has a pistol of glory. All right, friends. Well, my grocery order was just got a message saying it's ready to go. I got quite a bit of progress done, and I thank every one of you for doing that with me. Kind of checking in on where we are painting-wise. We got our 2 conquest bases that are drying. When they're done, I'm going to throw some grass tufts and a log on them. Then the heroes can go on them. Done. Bone splitters. This needs to dry. Give a light dry brush of Ushapti bone. Ring around the base with black. Done. Everything else is, I mean, Space Station Deer I'm excited for, but it's not like a priority in terms of like what I need to prepare for an event or anything. So I'm just chipping away at it. Love that they're exploring some of the lesser known characters. Still waiting for Squirrel Girl and Night Stalker. When they make Nightcrawler, I might have to do all the X-Men. But we'll see. All right, friends. I'm going to go ahead and hop off. I'll chat with you all very soon. I got some reviews coming up this week for various games, as well as chatting about Gur from the Heart of Gur expansion guide and videos for Conquest as well. So I hope that you will join me throughout this week, and I will catch you all next time. Happy wargaming, friends.